Okay, we are live, everybody. My name is Bezad.
My name is Risa.
And we've got some special guests today. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Sally Fox.
I'm Kosuke Mizuno.
There you go. And we don't often have guests on the show, but we have some very, very special guests today. Sally Fox, of course, is I think our audience might know a little bit about her, but she is the founder, the
Creator.
The godmother of FoxFibre, and Kosuke here, Mr. Mizuno-san, he brings Sally's Fox's cotton to Japan. Not physically, he can't carry all of that on his back. He's
strong.
He's a tough guy, and he produces the yarns for the products that we make, and for everybody in Japan who uses FoxFibre.
Yeah.
And so he is a cotton yarn master. And we're gonna go real deep into the roots, so to speak, today. So we're gonna learn a lot about cotton and its manufacturing processes. You learn a lot about textiles from us, but we learn a lot from them and how everything works. So we're gonna share all that information with you guys today.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
And both of them is wearing our Wonder Looper T-shirt. We didn't force them.
We're representing in a lot of different shades here, so everybody, thank you so much. Hit the like button as you enter the live stream here, and let us know where you guys are tuning in from. We're going to be answering your questions, so if you have any questions, hit us up in the chat over here, and we also have some questions that came in from offline, so we're gonna go through a lot of different things. But first, let's check in with the chat. Let's see where everybody is tuning in from. We've got Shang Style Morning from Sydney, Australia, wearing his Naked and Famous denim 10-ounce brown fox today in anticipation for Sally Fox episode. How often does Sally visit Japan?
Well, I came in 1989.
Okay.
And then in 2023. And now.
In 2025. So,
All right.
Yeah.
So
on average, every 16 years. Something like that. BD, hello all. On vacation and ready to tune into this glorious live stream. Good people are good for the heart. Well, thank you very much, Mr. BD, the producer, tuning in. KMX, tuning in from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Looking forward to this stream with Mrs. Fox. And we've got Solvents, hello from Scotland. Melody Murray, hello from Tucson, Arizona, wearing my Suriami FoxFibre t-shirt. We've got,
in Tucson.
there you go. We've got Beans from Reno, Nevada. Hannah from Wisconsin. America's definitely in the house today. We've got Unbleached Apparel saying, hey Sally. We've got so many people. Invis Eanes, DC is in the house. Mike WP is in here. Edison Jr., hello there. Konnichiwa from Sydney, Australia again. Nicholas Philpoo, hello from Japan. We've got Nick, hello from Seoul, South Korea. We've got Terrence. Terry is in the house, and he's here from Montreal, Canada. He's saying hello. We all know Terry from This Week at Tati and Yoko. One of the guys at Naked and Famous is here. John Akes, good morning from Chicago. I'm going in turbo speed, by the way, if you haven't noticed. And Bean says he's wearing his Fox 70 shirt and his Naked and Famous Ecru FoxFibre just to get... Now I just need to get some socks.
All right.
Right. Sally's got you covered over here. There you go.
I'm almost, when I get back, I'll put more inventory up.
Okay.
I just put 0 because I'm gone.
Right.
I can't send orders out when I'm here in Japan. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's the same when we travel.
Well, we don't put it in 0.
Well, we don't put it in, but we
say
can't
when
ship
we
anything.
can't ship.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Suzuki-san from Marua Textile Industry, the sewing company behind Wonder Looper. I don't understand English, but I'm watching the live stream. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for tuning in. We've got Tommy Slab. Big hello from New Jersey. Nuevo Jersey is in the house. Terry, Stephen Copelcam's chatting with Terry in the chat. Just got his MIJ14s. Great jean, by the way. And Chris Karras might have to slide on the double heavyweight Fox 80 pullover for the occasion.
I hope it's not so hot.
Yeah, that's a hot one. It's been pretty hot here in Japan the last couple days.
Yes, and it's hot at home too.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, it's starting to get there. But we were all together a couple of days ago in Osaka for the World
That was the
Fair.
hottest day, by the way.
Was it?
Oh, it was very
That was
hot.
like 35 degrees.
It was very hot, and it's an open. I don't know if you guys know. Sally did a talk there on Monday. In the last week's newsletter, I had a link to the stream, so you can check it out there online. You were on there with a panel of folks talking about sustainability in 2025 and what it means. So if you get a chance, if you have last week's newsletter in your inbox, then go and click that link in there.
That was cringy. I watched just the beginning of it. I was like, oh.
You know,
I was so nervous.
It's okay. You know,
because you guys all said nice things to me when it was done, but when I started to watch, it was like,
you know,
No.
no. The difference is, you know, I think we like environments that are like this, a little bit more casual and conversational, whereas a panel is very organized and people have PowerPoint presentations.
They
and
have all these statistics.
Yeah.
And the longer they went on, the more intimidated I got.
Yeah.
And the more like, oh my gosh, I'm just telling a story and they have all this stuff. All this statistics.
To be fair, if it wasn't for you, that panel might have been like a little bit too, academic.
Yeah, or corporate sounding, right?
Oh,
you know,
right,
and so
right, okay. I know, but still, that was the effect.
Yeah.
So when it was time for me to speak, I was frozen.
Oh.
That's what I could see. When I'm watching myself, I'm going, oh.
Really?
No, you were fine. You were
noticed
fine.
it,
That was no problem. You were the best part.
were very
Yeah.
Thank
You were
you.
definitely
But anyway,
the best part.
Just a warning for anybody if they go to watch it.
Yeah.
Beware. At least the first few minutes that I watched, I was just.
It can be hard to watch yourself sometimes, or you can be very critical of yourself.
Well, it's true. But anyway,
right.
just a warning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you guys.
But
there you have it, guys.
it was definitely a worth a watch because it really warmed my heart. Like I've heard your story before, so I knew about all the things, but it just like seeing it, you were talking about it with the pictures and stuff. Like it was very nice to listen to.
So
And the heroes still remain Taisho Goseki.
there you go.
That's the hero of the story.
You're the savior.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And you.
Us,
Right?
I mean,
You're
I think,
contributing.
yeah,
All
we're all contributing,
Yeah,
and
that's
and so we love interesting products, and I have to say, I'll say this, and maybe I haven't talked about this before, but I just remember, our days at Naked and Famous, we were around for a while before we got our hands on FoxFibre, and it took a while, and I would say that we went to different mills and we heard about brown cotton. We heard about natural colored cotton. And every time we go to these places, oh no, you can't get it. We don't use it. And I'm like, and so for just the longest time in my mind, it was, I don't know, it's just not out there. Like, it's not. And so I just remember we went to another mill, smaller mill. And they had all these cottons on display, all these different colored, little tiny bales. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I've been looking for this forever. Like, it's like one of those, like, it's like, is the myth real, right? And I'm like, is that, there's a lot of cottons out there in the world that don't exist anymore today. Is that one of them? Or is this something that you can get? And he's like, no, I can get it. And I'm like, well, what? Why has everyone been telling me? Maybe they had their own cotton to sell. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's one of those things. It's like, oh no, I don't want to bother with that because I have my own supply chain, and I'm gonna.
Yes, right.
And that's probably what it was, right? It's like you go to the steak restaurant. It's like, hey, do you know any good chicken places? And they're like, no, of course I don't know any good chicken places because we don't care for that, right? So, as soon as we found it. We were on it. And I think as soon as we started Wonderloop, we knew from the very and it was from the very beginning. We had FoxFibre, cotton in our products because it's such a very special material, right? And you can speak more about it than maybe we could, but my impression of it is a lot like, as we learn your story, it's like just the struggle that it was to keep this alive. And then on top of that, you know, I love anything that just takes a lot of work to make. You know, it takes a lot of work to make. I like it. You know, it's just, there's just something more to it. And I would also say that the passion, or maybe insanity, of people who want to do things their way, right? It's like if you have a vision and you want to do something your way, and it's just like, yeah, I know there's easier. I know there's other options. I know there's easier options. I know it's all exists. I don't care. I want this. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. And so that also draws me to these kinds of things. And then also it looks nice. Right, and that's sort of like, you know, on a surface level, that's sort of all that kind of matters. It looks nice, it wears nice, it has a great texture, a great look. But anyhow, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just flattering you a lot.
No, it's so nice that you found it.
Yes.
That you found it at this one place, and that they were willing to do it.
Yeah.
See, that is the big deal.
It is a big deal.
People who like it, like, really like it. So, like,
Yeah.
that mill, they were really, like, you know, just dedicated to that.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fabric option in that already that they've worked on. So, it's just, like, now we got to know this community, like, big fan of FoxFibre kind of community. And I just like that we get to be a part of it also.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was that Kondo-san? Was that the mill that Kondo-san advised or something?
I think so.
And that's why he designed that fabric, that first fabric that you used. That I still wear those.
Yeah,
shoes.
I think we called it the brown fox.
Yes.
There was a jean before that we used FoxFibre in, but we didn't have a relationship with you yet, and we weren't sure, like, as far as, you know, using the name FoxFibre. So we just called it the True Grit Selvedge. And it was in dark indigo with a fox weft. I'm not sure what the percentage was.
It was very, like, a faint.
Yeah.
Like, this level brown.
Yeah. But it had FoxFibre in it. And anyhow, once we, you know, figured everything out, how to use the naming properly, we started putting it on all the products. But there was technically one before that I think we just marketed as a naturally colored brown cotton or something like that. And
we even said brown cotton.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't
It's
like
sort
brown.
of an oatmeal color.
Yeah.
Sort of this vintage.
Right. It was. I do have a pair of them, and they're one of my best faded jeans. But I massively outgrew them. Like there's nothing I can do.
Yes, this whole issue.
I get more clothes because he outgrows them, and then I can put it on.
It's adult puberty. You know, when you're a kid, you're constantly growing out of clothes, and then for a while you're the same size, and then you're just like, oh man. So
You don't have that problem.
I'm having it now.
So we've got a lot of people in the chat. Sally brings out the best in the chat from Stephen Kopelkamp. I'm still hoping that Sally can bring green FoxFibre to the masses.
I am too. Should I tell the whole story about what's going on with the green?
Yes,
Let's do it.
Nightmare.
The nightmare,
Disease.
because we've been asking for it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes,
Want to take the bowl?
yeah.
Okay.
There's a bowl. I
So
brought one
Sally
branch
brought
that's green.
so we can see that green cotton. It looks.
It doesn't look green on the plant. It's one of the mysteries.
Yeah.
Like, you look at this and you wouldn't know that it's going to be dark green.
Right.
Yeah. What do I have to show you with the dark green?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Right?
It's okay.
It just fell down.
A little spill. It's okay.
It's
So so it has this more brown tone in
in the
the light.
until you spin it and boil it, the green isn't visible.
Okay.
So the green is so cotton fiber is so amazing. First of all, it's like if you had a microscope and cut the fiber in half and looked at it, like cross section, it has rings, just like a tree. When you cut it, has rings, but the difference is the tree is a ring every year.
Right.
With a cellulose fiber, it's a ring every day.
Wow.
30 to 45 days, a layer every day, a layer of cellulose is laid out in the length of the fiber. The first 10 days after the flower is pollinated, the length is established in the first 10 days. But after that, every day a layer of cellulose is laid out and put in a different direction. So they're never the same. everyone is some are like a spiral,
Okay.
some are straight, some are, it's always a different angle, a different, so orientation, that's the word. And so the green is a Suberin wax in between every one of those layers.
Okay.
Right? So it's a wax between every one, 30 to 45 layers.
Okay.
The tannin-based browns that we're all wearing, the color is there's actually a little like a straw in the middle of the fiber called the lumen, and the tannins are in there
Okay.
and on the outside last 2 or 3 layers of cellulose, not in between every layer like the green is.
Okay.
So you would never know this is green, right? Doesn't it just look tan to you?
Yes.
And so unless you are a spinner and spin it and boil it, you wouldn't know, or it's in the laundering where the green would come out.
Interesting.
And so it requires this textile processing for the color to be revealed.
And does that have anything to do with the fact that fox green is a little bit more like color changing?
Yes, it's almost like pH paper. We tested it 100 times back and forth between acid and base. If you put it in acid, it goes yellow. Put it in base, it goes gray. Back and forth, unless you fix it. And that fixing, there are a few ways of fixing. One is the iron mordant. The other is this older fashioned sort of thing using ammonia, but it's highly dangerous because ammonia is like a gas.
Sure.
You die. You can't fool around in your kitchen
Right.
with ammonia. Mixing it with ammonia, and only certain mills have the capacity to do the color fixing with ammonia. But if you do it, the ammonia idea came from not traditional indigo dyers, but the hand weavers that I knew of back in the 1970s and 80s were using, they used to make the indigo, oxidize the indigo with ammonia. And so they were the ones who tried the green and ammonia, and it gets teal color.
Right.
Wow.
Very pretty.
Yeah. It's very fascinating. I can just imagine the revelation when you realize that this isn't brown anymore.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
what happened was I had made all these crosses between different brown cottons with each other. And it was among about 2,000 individual plants that I found the one green. And it was this little scrawny thing under a gorgeous, glorious plant with lots of bolls and everything. And then there was this one little thing under it, and I looked, and I was like, what's this?
It's the runt.
And I pull it out, and way inside it's green. And in fact, if you pull one of those out, you might, I don't know.
Let's try.
Do you want to try?
A grand reveal.
A grand reveal. See if it's green inside. I don't know, because this is
I've seen some pictures.
where it's green
Yeah,
yeah.
I see
inside.
it.
Oh, yeah, you
yes.
can see it.
There.
Yeah.
So that was the thing, and it came.
Oh, it might be hard to see in the thing.
my
but
No,
it
you
is
can
green.
see it.
Kind of
Yeah.
see. And so when I pulled it out like that, and it was green like that, I was like, I just started crying. I fell on the ground. I was like,
Yeah.
first of all, I never knew there was anything like green cotton, right? I knew about brown, and
Right.
I've been breeding, crossing it and everything, and I'd grown it, but I didn't imagine that there was green. And that was when I kind of that was the moment in my life where I decided that this is it. This is what I'm going to devote my life to, because if this can come out of brown, what else can come? And what else is going to be revealed by the plant?
Right.
Right? What else is there?
I'm just going to move the mic up a little bit.
Oh, because you can't hear it.
Yeah, the people saying it's a little soft, but that's okay.
Okay.
So that
I'll
might
try
be a
using a
little
louder
better.
voice.
Okay.
But
So there
yeah,
you go.
so you were like
Yeah.
looking in
Right.
the field of this,
Yes,
and
it's-
then it's just
yeah.
like this. It's amazing. But even in the brown variety, you also have a different
Many different
kinds.
colors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look in there and you'll see some more colors of brown.
Right.
And so there's all sorts. The incredible variability in the colors is such that I have developed this whole system of using these greeting cards.
Right.
Where I take a seed from the inside of the bowl, inside of the lock, and one from the outside, and spread it out all on the paper, and then I gin it and have that color on the little card, and then I spin it, boil it, see that color on the card. All these are my attempts to have some sort of way of assessing what's happening with the color.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are patterns even about where the color is around the seed.
Right.
Sometimes there's a white, there's like a V at the top of white, and then green, and sometimes it's green with red tips. The same fiber will have
Wow.
green with a red tip. And then at the bottom it's all gray. There's all these, and I have yet to fully understand any of this, but I have the data.
Right.
Right?
And this is
I have
right.
the data.
this
Someday
one's
someone
like
will
a-
understand.
This
Right.
one's a lot more
Yeah,
red.
see how
Yeah.
much more red
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is.
So yeah, even within FoxFibre itself, there is
Right.
So
quite a bit of variety.
And are these the same?
I don't think so. This
No, no,
one
no.
appears a little redder.
No, they're all different. They're all very different. I just
Oh,
picked
yeah.
these from the field that I thought were pretty bowls. We went through and picked them before a big rainstorm and tried to preserve them to give to people, right? 'Cause you
Yeah.
It's
want
more
them for
like
your sh-
coyote.
Yeah.
Right.
This is
that's
more
what-
coyote.
Right.
That's
Not exactly
Not
coyote,
exactly,
but
no, but
Oh.
it's more like it.
And
Right.
what would you call this one?
Well, that's more. Well, I think that's in the. No, it's not the true saffron. It's just. Well, okay. So maybe I should get my little breeder. My cards.
Oh.
I have these business cards I printed with all the
yeah,
pictures.
right.
Should
Okay.
I pull those out
Yeah.
and I need
Sure.
to show them because it tells a lot of stories.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna. What did I do with my? Oh, I don't want you to go get it.
No,
I'll
no,
get
no
my
worries.
purse.
okay.
Okay. So Nick says this is fascinating insight into the world of cotton. Yeah, it can get pretty interesting. You know, this is not a topic that a lot of people are going to deep dive into.
Yeah.
You hear about a bunch of different brand names of cotton here out in the there's some that are more popular than others.
Pima cotton and all kinds of things, but
Okay, so here's the different colors from the
Wow.
breeding
Right.
nursery.
this is
the
saffron.
that's the
That's the
saffron,
saffron.
color
It's-
range, which you
very
and that's a
vibrant.
green.
oh yes, this is very green looking.
And see that one here. We're going to talk about the green again. The problem with the green before we
Oh,
get
yeah,
too
let's-
wild
right.
into all this stuff. Right, here's another green. This is green where this little V at the top is not white; it's tan, but it boils. This one that Bayside had in his hand gets so dark you can't believe it when you boil it. It is gloriously deep. So the color saturation. There's color, and then how much color is expressed, right?
This one is like
It's like orange.
orange. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really sings, right? So then these are seeds. This is this is planting, planting in the planter. Here's the sea green that is in that Taishobo has, right? That's the current one.
Sorry.
The current one that is so problematic.
Okay.
So what's
Let's get
happened
into
was,
that.
First of all, okay, it was a big achievement. The first green I got, that one that made me cry and changed my life, that one had a fiber that was about 0.8 of an inch, which is not particularly spinnable.
Mhm.
And on the strength measurement, it was like breaking butter.
I see.
Totally
Uh-huh.
weak. The weakest thing you could imagine. Okay, so a normal person would give up, right? But no.
Not you.
No. I had this job. My real job was working at this lab in San Diego, and I had engineered and had built for them a biosecure greenhouse. Now, if I was like some corporate type or a man,
Okay.
they would have given me stocks. But no, they gave me the corner of the greenhouse for my cotton. So the first thing I did was take my seeds from those ones that made
Yeah.
me cry and plant them in my corner of
Yeah.
the greenhouse. And soon I had flowers. And those flowers I cross-pollinated with Sea Island
Right.
that I also had growing in the greenhouse. I had all these sea islands that aren't even available anymore and made this cross. Yeah, and even have a picture of it
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
card.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, he
I'm
knows where they are. I'm looking for
All
them.
right.
So my friend took a picture of me making the cross that was the ancestor of this sea green.
Okay.
And the big deal about it was it has 1.14 inch length. It's a normal fiber length.
Right.
And it's not strong, but it's not butter either.
Right.
It's like tolerable.
Okay.
Right? And it doesn't have easy to pick bowls. It does not have high yield. But it was green and spinnable, and so this was a huge achievement, right?
Right.
And it was the first thing first cotton Taisho Boseki ordered from me. Kondo-san found me and asked me to grow the sea green, and it was my first experience contracting with Dosi Alvarez because I knew him as an organic farmer or cotton farmer from the past, but it's very challenging to get the cotton grown in the U.S. because there are all these rules and regulations about colored cotton that had been outlawed in California, San Joaquin Valley. It had been outlawed in Arizona, but it wasn't outlawed where Dosi is, and he is a part owner of the gin. So it's not just can you grow it, can you gin it?
Can you process it? Yeah.
Yes. So because of him and his willingness to give it a try, and because Taisho Boseki, Kondo-san, wanted this cotton, I bought it, brought it into production again. And it's just been a miserable variety for Dosi all these years, but the worst happened last year. So what happened last year is he grew that there is this new soil disease that came into the Americas in 2001. It's a fusarium, which is a particular kind of fungus.
Okay.
And there are all sorts of races of fusarium. And we have a whole bunch of them already, and all of my cottons are resistant to them.
Mm-hmm.
But this new one, normal fusariums require a microscopic worm called a nematode to go in and infect and sort of inoculate the plant with the fungus. But not this one. This one doesn't require nematodes. It just gets in on its own and kills susceptible plants. So remember, the cottons I breed are, both of them are species native to the Americas.
Yeah.
They have 4 sets of chromosomes. They have never had any experience with this new disease that was brought in from India in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
They have 0. And the good thing is my browns are resistant. But the sea island cotton is the most susceptible
I
to
see.
this disease. And the sea green is expressing its ancestry by being partially susceptible. So last year, Dosi grew all this cotton up. He had to plant it, it grew.
Yeah.
It produced flowers, it produced bolls, but the bolls didn't open.
I see.
So he had all the expenses and nothing.
Right.
Well, very little. And this is why he's sort of like, we have to replace this variety. He's growing as much as we had seeds left in a place that didn't have that disease on his farm, much of it. And on my nursery, I have 20 possible replacements. So I've been working for a long time to come up with a higher yielding, darker green with the good fiber core.
Right.
And now what I'm doing is I have all 20 of these potential replacements. Each one of them has about 1/10 of an acre.
Mm-hmm.
You can go from 1/10 of an acre to about 2 or 3 acres next year. And then 2 or 3 can go to 40. So now we're into production again.
Okay.
But the deal is it has to be resistant. So
Right.
there's the former cotton breeder for New Mexico State University, Dr. Jinfa Zhang, we just call him Jinfa. Jinfa offered to test all of my varieties in the greenhouse where he has soil that has an exact amount of this fusarium race 4.
Okay.
And then they've sprouted, and every week they're getting sprayed with a precise amount of this fusarium. So they have it in the roots, and they're getting sprayed. By mid-July, I will have an answer. So if any of these are more resistant than the sea green, which we hope.
Fingers crossed in the chat, everybody.
Let's give a good. Let's hope that 10. Imagine 10 are more resistant.
Right.
Then I have the lint from all these that I planted, and if you follow my Instagram, I'm always showing pictures of these big long lines of these guys. If let's say 10, then I send a lint from those 10 to Taisho Boseki.
Right.
They get to tell me what they think are the best. Right?
Right.
And if they pick 4, say, then I send those 4 to Dosi next year.
Yes.
And he grows a few acres of each to see how do they grow in New Mexico.
Right.
Because first of all, everything I grow at my farm is just
it's a different environment.
Totally different. And I'm only there because it was outlawed in all these places, and I chose this area because there's no cotton.
Right.
And nobody's going to outlaw it there. And I could afford the land. Where this New Mexico farmland is so expensive. You have to be multiple generations to have access to the land.
I see.
You can't just move there and buy. Well, maybe if you were some rich person, you could. But that wasn't.
Rich
my
people in the chat, let's do this.
It's fine. I'm not moving. I'm where I am. We send these seeds there. He evaluates them. They evaluate them. And then we'll have a new green. Now,
Right.
let's say none of them are resistant. Well, then I have to think about this, what to do.
Right.
I don't know what to do. Then I have to start growing it on my own farm
Right.
for you guys.
Okay. Well,
I have a lot of land, and I could do it. But I just don't have a gin. What I grow on my farm, I have to package up in totes and truck to the gin in New Mexico.
right.
And so it's really expensive.
Right. So,
Sorry. Did I go too
no,
No,
that's
it's very
exactly
interesting. Yeah.
what this audience loves. And like, this is exactly why we don't have what
Yes, we're
you
not telling
yeah.
you like, oh, we can't get green.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
This is the real.
Right. It's the real deal. And it's this is the sort of thing that, when you're in this sort of realm of apparel where you're very particular, things don't always and can't always go your way, right? If you're going to make specialty items using specialty materials, those materials they're sometimes they're going to be around, sometimes they're not going to be around, sometimes they're going to be what you need, sometimes they're going to be not as you expected. So things can change all the time, and it's like, for on our end, it's like, we might speak with you guys and we can see that, oh, these yarns are or were on the menu, and it's like, okay, you've made fox green before, you've made yarns, can we order some? Maybe.
No.
Right? Yeah.
So she's now working for the future
Yes.
of green cotton. At the same time, we order those seeds with the older seeds. So he grows now.
Yes.
In this year. For the next year, we hope to get some of the green cotton.
Right.
But we are not sure if it's successful.
Right.
So far, it's growing
Right,
well.
it's growing well. Where Josie planted it this year doesn't have a lot of this disease, and it's growing well.
Okay.
But we
that's
never
good news.
know. Like one year, there was a hailstorm. that
Right.
went through.
Yeah.
Right.
The weather, there's a million factors
Yeah.
here. So we're trying we're trying as, we're all doing our part here, and, you always have a customer, whenever it's ready, you have a customer for it, we're ready to go. And so, we'll support it no matter what. So,
I just want to show
Yeah.
this card because it looks wonderful on this photo.
Right. So that explains this tan, this middle color you have. The mother is the saffron color. The mother's that saffron color, and
Okay.
the father is the green. Who would
Oh,
think? If
wow.
you cross saffron and green, you get this.
oh, right.
Wow.
Right? But if you plant that middle one, they both will. You'll have some that'll be the dark color, some that'll be green, and
Right.
some, you get all this mix of offspring, right?
And I'll say to like people like us, that's very, very interesting. But I would say that maybe this is part of the challenge with, I would say, mass appeal. Not sort of mass appeal, but sort of, the mass production people, they want consistency. Right?
Well, I don't produce that.
Right.
This cross. This is what you do in breeding to
Sure.
create.
Oh, right.
The individualization that you get to select from.
Right.
And then you, from that, develop a variety, and the variety has to be consistent.
Yes.
So that's what when Taisho Waseki buys it, it has to be consistent, bale to bale.
Right.
They have to have consistency. But I don't get a variety unless I do all that work.
Okay.
That's how you get a new variety, is all this individualization.
Right. And so I guess there was a question that came through. Hold on, because we asked the Wonder Looper World for their questions, and I have it somewhere. Okay. I guess we just answered this one. Somebody asked, is green FoxFibre more difficult to grow than brown? I would love to buy some green FoxFibre shirts. I guess we covered that one. This one, I find it baffling that Sally doesn't receive any institutional support for the development and maintenance of FoxFibre.
Yes.
Is there any hope that some foundation or other might step forward now that her work has returned to the spotlight? You would think the fashion industry would recognize the value of these materials. Best regards, Michael in Ireland.
Aw,
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael in
Yeah.
Ireland. Well,
Go ahead.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. I can't.
Mm.
What is so impossible? I don't know why. What happens is people who give funding are always looking for the newest thing. Can you genetically engineer it?
Right.
Oh, why don't you use CRISPR? Oh, why don't you do this? They always have some sort of agenda.
Right.
So far, that doesn't mean the future couldn't change.
Sure.
And I've actually, wanted to set up a non-profit organization. I talked to a lawyer that was FiberShed recommended, and I spoke to her. And she said, "Oh, you're just ridiculous. Unless you have someone putting in $500,000 at least, there's no point in incorporating a separate nonprofit since all my money goes into everything I sell.
Right.
Goes back into the research, right? So it's not like I need nonprofit status. I only would need that if there was a foundation that was going to put some money in to make it worth a separate set of books, right? Because I do all my stuff, right? All my bookkeeping, all my filing of the taxes, myself, right? Imagine trying to do another one.
How many more jobs can you do? It's enough.
No.
But yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Hope I answered the question, but
It's tough. I mean, I would say that I'm not shocked because I know how the industry.
Oh, yeah.
You know how the industry works, and it's like green and sustainability is that going to help me sell some more? Okay, then I will use those words. If people don't care, then I'll just make it look like that. Like I think you were the first person to tell me about plant-based clothes, and like I've definitely seen this labeling on things because they're moving away. Some of these companies, maybe their organic wasn't as organic as you throw these words. Oh, it's organic. Okay, well, like anything, there's levels here, right? And some things maybe barely even passed the smell test, and so they felt that maybe instead of barely passing the smell test, we're pre-organic. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there one day, right? Or plant. I've seen plant-based clothing, jeans or t-shirts. I'm like, plant-based, I'm like, what else would they be made from? Like, are you going to use stainless steel here to make these shirts? Like how? But it's all dressed up in the same type of thing, and it's like, they're the
There's
people.
always a new word that
Right.
people just kind of use, and then make it sound like legitimate, and exciting because it's a new word,
Yeah.
but it's actually not doing anything
right.
new.
It's all this sort of Ponzi scheme thing. And so when I think on the positive side of no foundation or whatever, I'm able to just devote myself to the actual people using the cotton, right? And because I fund it by selling the bales and my mail order business, I have relationships with my retail customers. I write little notes. These relationships inform my work with the plants, and I think that's something I appreciate about not being part of some giant thing.
Right. Yeah. We're as independent brands, and I think a lot of independent brands often have I think a lot of us might have had the how can I say it, the experience with the big, and that has really led us to be like, what, I don't want to be a part of that, right? And we've all worked for bigger companies and like worked around them and have our experience with them, and it's just like, it's not the machine. Like the machine is not as exciting or interesting as you think it is, and I don't know. I guess it's just a lot of different experiences where whether like in terms of like how we sell our products. For us, it's like I'd much rather speak to you guys directly, and we have an email list. We could tell you about the processes and things like that. Whereas like the old way was, okay, you go to the trade show, you have to impress some buyer, you have to bribe some buyer.
Yes.
And then, okay, now you get in the store, and then they're going to tell you, well, we're not going to give you any floor space. Like, okay, then how do you expect to sell it? Well, you could pay us to market it for you. I'm like, but you're the one selling it, right? Yeah. Give us some money, and then we'll market it in the store. And if it doesn't sell, then we're gonna come back at you and ask you for more money to cover the margin, because we need to make money on this, even though we bought it from you. You need to pay us to sell it, and it just becomes this nightmare scenario where you're working with these people, and they'll always do that. Like, so just so you guys know, when stuff goes on sale, big brands, I'll say that a lot of the large brands that you see in in all the department stores, they're designed for department stores. So, they have a giant margin that's built in, and they know it's going to go on sale. So when the retailer puts it on sale, that's sort of the normal price. They expect it to sell on sale. If they sell it full margin, full price, even better. But they know it's going to sell on sale, so, there's a margin already built in for that. But the smaller brands don't work that way. Like, we just don't have those kinds of margins. It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense for us. So, we don't make a product made in China and then give it a luxury price.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you see that our prices are in the realm of luxury prices because it is a luxury good, artisanally made good. And then you go, you look in some of these other brands and they're made in places all around the world where, look, the quality of the product was probably there, but you also don't see what isn't sort of put into that product. What labor practices, what environmental practices, all that stuff, you don't know. You just see it's a nice shirt, it looks nice, it fits well, okay, the price is expensive, but whatever. There's a lot of margin in there.
Right.
And so when that stuff goes on sale and they sell it, it's okay, it's fine. But for a smaller brand, they'll turn around and they'll say, well, we have a margin expectation from you. And if we don't hit that margin expectation, you either need to give us that money as in a check. You pay us because we didn't sell the goods good enough. You have to now pay us so that we make the money that we expected to make on this. Or, I'm not saying it, but booking season is in 2 weeks. And if we don't have a good margin from this product, we can't move forward with this brand, if you know what I mean. And so you get into this cycle of like, okay, well, let me help you out a little bit then, because I still need that order. But it comes to a point where it just becomes absolutely not worth it for you. And we've been through those before, and I refuse to get started in that realm. And but
the beauty is, though,
it's just jaded me of these big,
But the beauty is that last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the demise of these, large retailers with very aggressive, kind of bullying tactics. I feel like the now is a very interesting time that those big retailers that aren't very supportive of smaller brands actually are struggling, and the reason being, at least part of it is because the smaller brands that they used to be able to push around can now have access to selling directly, or selling through independent stores who can tell the story about the brand and all those things. So I think the tide is a little changing in a very good way, and I feel like we're part of it.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Melody Murray asks, Sally, what cotton or natural fiber blends offer good UV protection for hot climates?
Well, the brown cotton is particularly UV. Protection?
Okay.
Nice.
Particularly.
And it's also flame resistant.
Yes, flame resistant and antimicrobial.
There you go.
And has the elasticity of wool.
There you have it.
Wow.
There you go.
You got it all.
Yeah.
Most comfortable. That's one of the reasons that I think it feels so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And people who sew using these fabrics all remark, oh, this handles more like wool fabric when they're sewing it. Have you heard that from any of the people doing the sewing?
No.
No, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
That might be a thing to ask.
Okay, there's a Filthy Cyber says, you joke, but I'd buy a Wonder Looper chainmail t-shirt. It would be stab proof too.
All
right, yeah.
Well, there you go with your stainless
stainless steel shirts. Okay, there we go. Next season. Can you guys make us some stainless steel yarn?
Yeah. Okay, but the variety buffalo soaks up the copper in the soil and puts it in the fiber.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we could try that.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, copper infused cotton.
That's
I don't know how
interesting.
stab resistant we'll get it, but at least we'll have some more metal in there.
It should go weird.
Okay. John Ake says, a lot of this strikes me as how something similar to how hemp was shut down. I think big cotton doesn't want the competition. I think you've talked about it, is how they basically chased you out of, from state to state, saying that your cotton was going to contaminate their cotton and yada yada.
Right.
I mean, I think that's what they say in order to get the outcome that they want.
Right. It was not just that it was colored; it was that it was organic, and they didn't really want organic cotton to get going.
Right.
As a concept.
Sure.
At first, but there are actual legitimate issues of the color blood. Or when I'm trying to grow it, I get white cotton blown in.
Right.
And it's GMO white cotton getting blown in, and we have all the serious testing on organic certifications where it's tested for GMO contamination, and we suffer from this whole issue of inadvertent contamination.
So it goes the other way around.
The other way around. But then what do? We have nothing to do.
Right.
They didn't want brown blowing into theirs, and then they have a commodity crop that's very low value. All right, cotton is a low value commodity crop. People don't grow cotton to make money. They usually it's a rotational crop from the soil. It sends these deep. Cotton is a perennial, a tropical perennial grown as an annual in temperate climates, and it puts out an incredible root system that sequesters a lot of carbon. If the people who grow cotton often don't really talk. I don't know why they don't talk about this.
So you're talking about carbon capture and storage.
Yes,
here.
in the roots.
Yeah.
Because the roots take a good 5 years to biodegrade. And so it's fantastic. So in an acre, you're getting all this root material. You're taking very little away from your farm, actually. You're putting more into the soil. So it's used to break up diseases a lot.
I see.
A lot of the organic cotton in Texas that's grown they grow it as a rotation to break up the soil disease, a big soil disease of peanuts. So organic peanut growers, they can do 2 years of peanuts where they make a couple of $1,000s an acre on peanuts.
Right.
Then they put the cotton in, and then they can make a few hundred. So cotton is like a couple of $100 an acre profit versus $1,000.
Right.
And vegetables make $10,000 an acre profit.
Right.
So that's why the valuable farmland, when farmland is valuable, is because you can grow vegetables on it, because that's where you get good money. But all the row crops, things like wheat and cotton, are low value, and that's why you have one family with 1,000 acres.
I see.
And one guy working for them, and machines.
Right.
Big machines, because you don't make that much money per acre. But you are putting the cotton in to break up soil disease.
Right. So to preserve the land for future use.
Right.
Right.
Future, or if you have a big drought. Cotton is one of these crops that uses about 1/3 of the water of all the rest of the commercial crops. So if there's if there's a shortage of water, either you plant nothing, or if you don't want a bunch of weeds growing all over, you could put cotton.
I see. Okay. Well, there you go. That's some more.
But this is for the U.S.
Right.
I'm not talking about the rest of the world. I'm talking about the southwestern United States, how it is done.
Okay.
Interesting. But I also did hear when there's a tsunami effect in the north,
of Japan.
Whatever, however many years ago now, they planted cotton to clear out the salt in
yes,
the
because it pulls the salt out. It's one of the few crops that I know of, if not the only, that can grow in salty ground. And when this coyote is grown in salt, oh my gosh, you can't believe the beautiful color.
Oh yeah?
Really?
Yes. I grew it. We once grew it in this place that had selenium salt. Nothing would grow there, but even regular cotton. But the coyote grew there, and the color was beautiful. And this went to Yamato.
Oh really?
Yeah, they had it. So eventually you got it.
All right, fantastic.
That's
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's really fantastic and very interesting to see. These are the things that you never hear about. You never talk about. I mean, I guess with white cotton, I'm sure there's going to be somebody's going to say, well, in this environment it grows a little bit like this, a little bit like that. But ultimately, white cotton is going to be either white or they're going to dye it, and you're never going to see, sort of the natural variations here.
Right, and there actually is a lot of variability and fascination with all the white cotton. I've been really getting into the older white cotton varieties, which is what. It's funny because when Brandon came and he did that interview, I actually got to watch that one on the Naked and Famous interview. And then the thing stopped when I was explaining about this Giza 45.
Let's hear about it. Let's hear about it.
Because people asked,
because I remember we went, and the first time we came to your office, you had some little you have all these old
Samples.
cotton varieties, and you're like, this is the one. And even you mentioned it. And it's just like, can you get it anymore? It's one of those things,
So what's going on with Giza 45?
With the
now?
Giza 45. Well, I was trying to tell him why I started growing it, right? So I'd asked all these, when I was young, I asked all these spinners who were older, and everyone who was old enough would say Giza 45 was the favorite cotton they ever spun. And so I remembered that when I was looking through the seed bank. So there's seed banks that breeders can ask for seeds from. So when I registered Coyote as a variety, you get to name it.
Yeah.
And you send seeds in to the seed bank. So you don't get to just have your name and you get 18 years of being the only one to officially sell the seeds. But you have to give the seeds to everybody else in the breeding system.
Okay.
So anybody can take the seeds and start breeding maybe a better one. They don't get to call it Coyote 2.
Right.
But they breed it. So it was the system that most breeders used until they started doing all this patenting stuff.
Right.
And most plant varieties are still registered through that system.
Okay.
People aren't paying lawyers to patent. Plant variety protection is from the breeder themselves.
Okay.
I never paid a lawyer for that. So anyway, I had this sort of fantasy project. Well, when I was young, I got offered this job in Barbados to revive the original Sea Island.
Okay.
Which was 2.5 to 3 inches long. And I wanted to take the job. It was always have a house.
Barbados.
Money, and I was still working at labs then. Right?
Yeah.
And but I couldn't bring my colored cottons with me.
I see.
So and so it was one of those things where I was like, what would I have done if I had gotten that job?
Right.
How would I ever approach this? So I thought, well, hey,
now you have the chance.
Do it.
Yeah.
So I went to seed bank list, and I'm looking at all these seeds, and I see Giza 45. Wait a minute, that's the one all these guys love so much. So that's why I asked for it, and then I had 29 different I had Sea Island from Barbados. I had Sea Island from Fiji. I had Sea Island from the Russian collection. I asked for all these different sea islands. And then a bunch of old Egyptian descendants of the crosses between Sea Island and their old cotton that they had a barbadense seed that they were growing called Jumel that was grown all around the Mediterranean that actually has a great story too, but we'll stop with that.
Okay.
But the point is I got a bunch of descendants from Sea Island crossed with that Jumel from Egypt. And the Gizas, all of the Gizas, Giza 7, I took a few of those including Giza 45. So I'm growing them all up, and then this Giza 45 is totally different plant.
Right.
It's huge, it's tall, it's elegant.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I mean, isn't it surprising how big
Yeah.
it is? You've grown
Yeah,
it.
it's over 2 meters.
Amazing.
Tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, and not that many bowls. Right?
No.
You can see why it's not a high yield.
I
Very
see.
small.
Small.
Yeah.
And you have to hand pick it. It's not machine pickable.
Okay.
Right? And so, but it had this effect on me. It had an interesting effect on me when I go to the plant. I would feel
The aura?
The aura of the plant would give me sort of dignity. It had this sort of, it had this effect on me,
Mhm.
and I started wondering if it had it on anybody else. Did it affect you this way? Not really. Okay, well, that mattered to me.
Right, but I know the feeling because, you know, it's when we pick up a garment, you know, we make something like there's a certain connection you get when you pick up, you know, something, we get a new sample and it just comes out exactly right, and you're just like, this is exactly what we want, and like, you know, in your mind, and then it came to reality, or like, you know, even back in our denim days, you know, you go through, you know, the smell of the indigo mills. I loved it. I don't know what it is. I just loved that smell. And then we would get these rolls of denim from Japan. You open up the box and then you smell and you're like, that's it. Like, that's it. And it was a magical smell. Like, you know, I love denim and all this stuff. It's just like, it touches you in a way. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's different because it's like when you go to a rope dyeing facility, you smell the indigo.
Yeah.
It's not a great smell.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's a little.
It's a little eggy.
Yeah.
Sulfury.
But when you go to the mill that dye the yarns are being woven, I think it's like mixed with
the cotton
and the heat from
Yeah.
the machine. Maybe it's just like it has a specific feel to it.
And I think if you don't love it, that it's, you know, I'm sure there's people who work there who are just like, oh, I hate this smell, or just regulars that go, oh, it's a machine, it's making something. They don't care, but like there's when it's your thing, when it's you hit a connection and it's just there is more to it. It is more than just I don't know. Just you know it when you see it. It's hard to explain to people who don't operate on that wavelength, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyways, yeah.
Anyway, it's very special cotton, and I made a bunch of crosses with it. So I have descendants of these crosses between the sea green and the Giza and a bunch of sea islands. Anyway, I've used it a lot in my crossing, but I also increased a bunch of seeds that are actually I don't know if I should. There's a project that I'm working with Itoshu on an organic cotton project in a place.
Okay.
And which maybe isn't public yet, but it's a sort of a
That's fine.
potential production area with people that I felt would benefit from feeling dignified. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So we'll leave it there. So
Mystery project.
so there's a mystery Giza 45 project
Yes.
in the works.
Right.
So
in the hopes that
yeah.
they help them feel dignified too.
Okay. So I'm sure we're gonna hear from all of you at some point about when we can use it, and I will say that when we can use it, we will use it.
But it might be many years
Yeah,
down the
right.
line.
Yeah.
It might not work.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I have more in my nursery. I have a bunch of lines of it that I'll have fresh seeds of.
Okay.
For further tests of the project.
Okay.
And it could be, I keep thinking it would grow nicely in Japan. Personally.
Yeah.
You grew a plant.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think
Anyhow,
it was like they
yeah.
grow cotton plants
Yeah.
like every year, right?
Yeah. We grow Sally's some cotton hybrid of Giza 45 and green.
Okay.
Sea Island and Buffalo.
So why don't we have it yet?
Eh?
I know. I'm joking.
Do you ever like try and like spin it?
Yes. I mean the upland variety. So I just grew only 1 or 2 plants of Giza 45. So it's too little. But upland, we have like more than 50 kilograms. So
Oh wow!
we blend it with our regular cottons to make yarn for
Nice.
some customers.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we always like wanted to like see maybe the potentially using Japanese grown cotton in our products, you know, because everything is, you know, made in Japan and everything. So the whole story could be that it's grown in Japan.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there are already people who do
Yeah.
grow
There's a
cotton,
little bit of
yeah.
cotton growing
But it's-
here right now. Yeah.
But it's a
Anyhow.
little bit not so accessible. Yeah, price wise.
Yeah. Anyhow. Wonder Looper Farm one day. Well,
Someday.
someday we'll get there. It's just, you know, you start. I would love to do it.
Well, we could start
Yeah.
with all this cotton from my breeding nursery could
Yeah,
go
sure.
direct to you.
There, we'll do it on our balcony here. We got.
Yes.
Do we have enough sun?
I can't even keep my green plants alive, so I don't know.
Here's a question from the Instagram questions. Does FoxFibre react differently to certain dyes and other finishing processes versus other cotton?
There we go.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay,
so-
let's start. Here we
This
go.
is Indigo-dyed FoxFibre t-shirts. It's 80% concentration.
Okay.
FoxFibre.
Okay.
So our
So it was very brown.
Yeah,
Like a,
and
yeah.
so I did it myself 2 years ago and washed many times, and so it's not professional indigo dyes. I did it. So
Right.
it was not too dark, but it's still washed away,
Yeah.
and
yeah, it looks
It has
beautiful.
a beautiful
Uh-huh.
texture and pattern to it. You can see the warmness comes through, and look at that. That's really incredible. So I really like the way that turned out, and I was also quite curious because we do play around with the indigo dyeing here and there, and we are going to explore more natural dye options in the future. But I think it would be a lot of fun to do the FoxFibre cross with the natural dye.
Yeah.
And so this could be very, very fun to do one
Yeah.
day.
And
Yeah.
Sally here is also wearing jeans.
Jeans that are 25% FoxFibre
Right.
in a finisher draw blend in the yarn. So it's very streaky.
hmm
So that's what these streaks are about.
Right.
Mhm.
And then, and it was woven with 100% brown
Right.
in the weft. Then the fabric was dipped in indigo
Right.
before they sewed it. And so you see this whole, I think it's a very beautiful effect.
Yeah. The warmness still
Yeah.
shows through on the cool blue, which I really like. I like that combination.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
To me, like, because like this brown cotton is still new to me and it's a beautiful color. We are like exploring different shades of it.
Right.
So like to me, I'm like, oh, you cover it up with the indigo.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit like
That's
Yeah.
true, that's true.
Yeah.
But the other technical thing is tannin is a natural dye mordant.
Right.
And tannin is in the lumen of the fiber and on the outside 3 layers of cellulose. So if you have a natural dye that's not, indigo is just coating it, but most natural dyes you use a mordant to get it to go into the fiber.
hmm
But the mordant in this case is tannin and it's inside the fiber already. So
Ah.
I worked with a natural dye person in the 90s and they were able to use 80% less natural dye to get a brilliant color.
Interesting.
Wow, that's
Right.
very
And
interesting.
especially this sort of effect where you have white with the with
Mhm.
the color, so you have the possibility of making very sort of more complex looks out of some simple fabric because
Right.
you have the light and the dark. The white portion in the cotton is not going to take the dye like the color, like
Right.
the tannin is sucking the dye in. So you have the chance to make something that you wouldn't otherwise be able
Right.
to make.
Interesting.
And if you combine that also with like irregular spinning of the yarn so that you get different texture, then you can make a very, very complex color in that sense as well.
Yeah.
And so,
Wow.
like what I'm wearing is the iron mordant edition of the t-shirt you're wearing right here. Reese is wearing this is the Fox 15 blend.
So
So
light.
Yeah.
nice, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it
Really
is
like
beautiful.
it.
Yeah. So let's talk about iron mordant because this fall we're gonna have the iron mordant in a couple different fabrics for the
Yeah.
first time. If we could explain what iron mordant.
Yeah.
아로마티나.
Yeah.
The iron mordant. So I have went back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I have a niece, Abby. Her name is Abby, and she had been reading about how you could make blue. In the Middle Ages they made blue ink out of tannin, and she was trying to figure out could we get blue from
Blue cotton.
blue cotton from
Okay.
using whatever they were doing in the Middle
Okay.
Ages, right, to make blue ink.
Right.
Right, and this involved iron salts. That's what they used in the Middle Ages to make blue ink. They had tannin from oak galls and used iron salts. So she made this high school experimenters
This-
like
Oh,
herself.
I hope she won the science fair with
In
this one.
fact,
Yeah, yeah.
now she's a professor of neuroscience. She's a
Oh.
neuroscientist
Wow.
at the University of
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Abby Pearson now, right? And she is a neuroscientist, right? So this was the beginning of her scientific. So, but what we got from this was iron mordant, right?
Right.
That was her discovery.
Wow.
Fantastic. So how does it work in terms of like reacting with the fiber in order to create this new color?
Right.
Right.
It's some sort of thing with tannin. It's
Right.
the tannin. It's,
Okay.
The tannin is reacting. And I'm still convinced that if we had the right chemists involved, we
Right.
could get it to go blue. Like, well, how did they do
Yeah.
it in the Middle Ages?
Right.
Why did they figure this out and we still haven't?
Okay.
All right. That's any scientist in the
Chemists in the
chemist?
audience here, we're gonna call on you. Maybe we can make a fox blue.
Out of
Yeah,
coyote.
yeah.
That we would have.
Then
we
we'd solve the blue gene problem.
Exactly. We would solve
What's a
it.
blue gene problem?
Well, you wouldn't have to dye them anymore.
Oh,
You
right.
could just grow. And
Yeah.
so all these, when various people come to me, want to fund me, they all want it blue.
Right.
Mm.
They don't want to talk to me unless I can give them blue. Like I am this magician. Oh,
Right.
Snap a finger.
I could just make the plants make blue, right?
Right. Yeah, if you look, it's like people talk to me sometimes about pricing. It's like, oh, do you think it's gonna be more expensive in the fall? I'm like, bro, if I knew where the economy is gonna go 6 months from now, I would be in a totally different industry. I don't know. Like, it is sometimes funny like that. It's like, yeah, I wish I knew these answers. I know there's an answer somewhere, but I don't know if I have access to that answer all the time. But yeah, blue would be, anyway, look, more colors, the better. The more that we can get out of, Mother Nature herself. Very fascinating. Yeah, so anyhow, we have the iron mordants. You saw some of our products being made the other day.
yes.
We were right
Yeah,
there. We
right
had to
th-
go to
yeah.
Toki. Tell them about going there.
Toki.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their fabric maker
Mhm.
is located in Wakayama, and yeah, they are one of our best customers because we are very closely located.
Mhm.
Yeah, and yeah, we saw they knitting these new fabrics for you.
Right. So we have the iron. If you want to pull that one down, we can show the nice people here. So this is the iron mordant, double heavyweight, FoxFibre French terry, 825
25,
GSM.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of big yarns. And the loop is very
Yeah.
plush. It is very, very heavyweight, and it's the highest concentration of FoxFibre we could get,
Yeah.
Fox 80. And we have the original color back there. You can see, So this was when it was.
This was we
a
released.
swatch.
Yeah, we released
But,
this one
yeah.
last year, and
Yeah.
it will be back again in the fall.
Yeah.
And so this is the Fox 80B blend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we used that same, but with iron mordant.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot like more masculine color.
Yeah,
I think
it's got a nice earth. Well, they
Yeah,
both have
earthy.
beautiful earth tones,
Yeah.
but this one really goes more earthy, I find.
Yeah.
And so the difference between a mordant and like a traditional dye,
Right.
how do those
Oh, what is a mordant?
Sure.
Mordant is Latin for to bite.
two bite?
Mordant, to bite.
Okay.
And so it if you were doing natural dyeing,
Mhm.
before you natural dye, you have to go through a step called mordanting.
Okay.
And that's what they do with white cotton. It has to be mordanted before you natural dye it.
And that's so that the dye adheres to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, the dye just washes out.
Okay.
So this is a step in natural dyeing. And that's why it was so easy to take it in and include it, because it's already a technique. It's already
Right.
a system. It's not inventing a new technology. It's using something that's already there.
Right.
So there are all different natural dye mordants, many different kinds. There are some that people don't use anymore because some of them are not good to use, right? But most of them are. The most common ones are like alum. People who do natural dyeing at home will use alum, or they use this one.
Okay.
These are the ones that are kind of safe to use at home.
Okay.
And that's, but because these are not going to be naturally dyed, unless you had this idea from your niece,
Yes.
you wouldn't really
do
play
that.
around with it. But that's what happened is
Right.
when we put it in the Mordant, we get this other color. And so this year on my breeding cards, first time I ever did it, I spun and boiled, just boiling water, but I also took another spun and boiled, the second one, and dipped it in the Mordant for 3 seconds.
Right.
And then I have now what the color looks like, just boiled and
Mordanted.
so I could get an idea of what's happening.
Fantastic.
with each
Yeah.
So iron is the best choice to make it deeper. Right.
Right.
And you can choose also copper or aluminium, but it doesn't change so much.
I see.
And also, it makes the color more stable under light.
Right.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why like your green variety has a lot of mordanting.
Right.
Because it
mordanted
brings out the
colors.
color
Yeah.
more.
And
So-
it
Yeah.
stops it from changing.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
because we asked her how to solve the problem of color fading under
Yes.
light, and she asked her niece, and she got the solution of
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
The green, the brown I find doesn't change much at all.
No, but
Yeah.
the green is the most.
Yeah,
And,
there-
but she did all this for the brown,
Mhm.
trying to get blue. And it was so impressive, her work, that we even applied for a patent for. She was gonna be the youngest woman in history to get a patent. But then it
Right.
didn't happen. But it was it was very good work she did.
Fantastic.
Now, no wonder
Yeah.
she's now neuroscientist.
I remember in I saw some older videos of yours, and you had received some letters from the president.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Well,
How-
we gave him jackets.
Okay.
So what happened was when my cotton got outlawed first in California.
Right.
Then, before Arizona did it, I made it my goal that anytime I used to take these around the world business trips for $3,500, and you had to go the same direction, and you had to be gone 6 weeks.
It's a great deal.
Yeah,
It's a great deal. Around the world for $3,500.
Yeah, so I do it once a year.
Yeah.
And I could go see all my customers, but I would always stop in D.C. and I would go lobby for my cotton to not be outlawed.
Right.
That was my goal. Don't outlaw my cotton. So I would go to every senator's office and every congressman's office of anybody who was a mill or where the growing could be, anything, and explain, what
Right.
is this? Please never outlaw it.
Right.
That's all I asked for. And so Al Gore was the senator
The
from
creator of the
Tennessee.
internet, by the way.
So he was a senator from Tennessee, and I had a customer spinning knitting maybe in Tennessee. Back then we had a textile industry, right?
Right.
And so I went to his office, and his staff was so great, and they totally loved the cotton. And then I maintained a relationship with him. And so when he was running for president, I sent a Levi's jacket to him and Bill Clinton.
Right.
And then they wrote they wrote letters of thanks back. Well, staff. wrote.
Sure.
But the staff of Al Gore totally got it. And poor Bill Clinton's staff didn't get it at all. Thank you for the unique gift.
Yeah. They had that one on file.
But Al Gore's office was so great. And when he was vice president and was going to run for president, his wife had me. I got to go to
Tipper.
the White House. Tipper.
Yeah.
She invited me to the White House. I got to go. And I walked in, and I brought all these fabrics. And they wanted him to have a whole outfit out of this cotton to campaign in. But by then, all the mills were gone,
Yeah.
and I couldn't get anything made. So it was just I got to go, but it was
Yeah.
just an exercise in heartbreak because all our mills were gone.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Anyhow, you're
Sorry.
still here and
I'm
not
still
outlawed. So something worked. Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Sorry, all these bad stories.
No, they're
No,
great
no,
stories.
it's
You know, I don't think it's a bad story, but I like to take any bad story, any bad experience is a good story. That's the way I see it. If it's bad experience, it's a good story. There's some value there. I'm sure they're not all good, but I try to turn limes into lemonade.
There we go.
But you don't turn limes into lemonade. Turn lemons into lemonade.
Limeade.
Limeade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liveade. Okay, Stephen Kopelkamp says, I want the Iron and Fox 15 so bad.
Oh.
Well, don't worry. They'll be available
soon.
This fall. Yeah, fall's not that far away. I know it's
No.
hot right now.
But,
But,
what
yeah.
comes next
Yeah.
is the fall.
Yeah,
so
it's not that
that's good.
far from now. Okay, Steven says, can you just dye the bulbs and spin dyed and undyed bulbs together so you get the best of both worlds?
There we go with you.
Sorry, yeah.
Can we dye
Where,
that?
where is this question?
Can you dye the bulbs
Wow.
and spin dyed and undyed bulbs together? So,
I think he's
Well, I
meaning
mean-
cotton.
yeah.
Okay.
Cotton.
Yeah.
So that's what they
Uh-huh.
do with
Yeah.
Taisho
Yeah, actually,
He answers this question.
Yeah.
You guys already use that cotton, so we combine dyed fiber or even your undyed colored fiber
Yeah.
with raw white cotton
Yeah.
to make melange yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have there is also a plan. There is a plan
Mhm.
because you have a bale of cotton for us. Some
Yeah.
Special veil.
special bale.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
bill.
Yeah,
With
buffalo
the
and
copper
saffron.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a buffalo bale for us, and that hasn't been grown in a while, from what I understand. You've had this just
Yeah.
on ice,
Right.
and so we want to do something with that.
But we're
Yeah.
a little like scared because it's the last veil,
Yeah.
right? Like we're just like, oh, we don't want to like, like we want.
I don't want to do like one production run and that's it. So
We gotta,
anyhow, we got to try to. We thought it would be kind of a cool idea if we could melange the yarn, and that way we can extend the use of that bale out a little bit more. And it's not as pure, right? But it's still, you get. It's gonna be in
everybody
there.
gets
Yeah.
a little piece
Yeah.
of buffalo,
Right?
That way, maybe. So
That's
we'll see.
that's what we're thinking there. Yeah. Bean says, was that a FoxFibre towel in Sally's Insta story recently?
Yes.
Yes, it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to see Watanabe
Mhm.
Pie.
Watanabe
Yes.
pile.
Pile.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Fumio spent a month with Dosi and Norma, and he's friends with Dosi Jr.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Stayed at their
Yeah.
farm. He spent a summer first. There was this really great guy, Katsu, New York,
Okay.
who was marketed Japanese fabrics. I think was that? I'm
No,
not
I don't
sure.
know
Wait,
about-
he had his office was at the Empire State Building, 75th floor.
That's pretty.
That's
Really
pretty good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. And his wife was a designer named what is her name? She did menswear. She does menswear. She's still designing now. I'll forget her name. But anyway, Fumio went and spent a month interning with them. Then stayed a month with Norma and Dosi Jr.
Amazing.
And they are friends still.
Great.
That's awesome.
So that they have a towel. They've
Yeah.
kept their family towel company alive despite the challenges of having a textile,
Sure.
right?
That is often the story of this country also, where it's like the companies that you deal with, you'll realize that he's like the third generation guy. Like they just they are that's very deep, I think, as in a lot of industries here, but a lot of it also here in the textile apparel world here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the like other side of it is that there's a lot of small family business that's dying because they don't have children that is willing to take over, or they don't. It's
We've
not
definitely
about-
met some of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too. So this is like my last, however many years in the business. So
And it's like some 80-year-old guy in a mill, and he's still like working everything, and you're like,
Yes.
"What's going on?" He's like, "Yeah, my kids don't want to do this."
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's like,
I mean, this is
it's so
amazing. It is
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking because, like, for us, we're like, this is amazing. Like, what? Keep this going. Like,
Yeah.
to do what? Work some office job? Like,
Yeah.
anyhow.
Anybody can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, anyhow, yeah. Okay, wait. I want to find a couple more questions for the audience.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But also, I want to
Oh.
start selling those towels on
Yes.
my mail order business.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I'm hoping that I can buy Watanabe pile towels wholesale from them and offer them on my mail order.
Yeah.
I actually remember the first.
So go to
like,
Sally's website, guys, and she has a
Yeah.
newsletter. So sign up.
Yeah, but I
and
never write anything.
She never writes anything, but she is on Instagram and quite active, more active than I am. So go to Sally's website And you can see some information here.
Yeah.
And
you
the
never have to
shopping.
worry about being flooded.
Yeah.
Your inbox will never be flooded with emails from me. Let me tell you that.
but there's also, if you haven't seen these older videos, like the FoxFibre on Smithsonian Presents, like I really like that one.
Oh, do you?
Oh, I really like that one because it's, to me, it's. Maybe it sounds a little, however way it sounds, but it's like, I would say before the crushing blows hit you.
Yes.
And
There's still hope.
bingo. And I see the hope and I see the perspective, and I'm like, I can imagine watching that as a kid and being like, oh, this is the future. And like knowing that this is the future, and then, you know, now knowing what the future became and being like, wow, why didn't it happen? Right? It like, because you watch and you're like, this makes sense. All of this makes sense. And like, for something to make sense and then it not to come to fruition, it's like, what happened? Like,
Exactly.
like what could have
still
possibly happened here? Yeah,
mystified.
yeah.
Except for the fact that people don't want to pay to clean up the waste, the dye waste.
Right.
That's it. It's just they won't pay. The brands, the
Right.
big brands they'll hire 100 sustainability team people to go
Yes.
around demanding that the price stays low and they do all these things.
It boggles my mind the size of some of these companies and the staff that they have on hand. And look, I'm not for I don't think anybody's for like large scale firing of employees. But my point is that a lot of these companies are probably way overbloated to begin with anyways. And if you say cut the bloat and you are this, you know, you want to present if you are, as many of these companies are presenting, like we're better, we're doing all this nice stuff. I'm like, you could actually do the things. You could actually do the things, not have to raise costs if you just ran the company a little more efficiently.
Well, right.
And-
Their profit margin was not so vast.
Mm.
I witnessed the change, right? From the Gap used to be this little few story building with offices. I gave an employee 1 day a week to them to help them find organic cotton. There was one sustainability guy,
Uh-huh.
right? And then they went to this whole, the guy called me one day. He said, I'd worked I spent like $4,000 on this project to come up with khaki blends
Uh-huh.
and washes and everything for them, for a khaki program.
Right.
And he calls me up and he says, guess what? We're being offered cut and sewn trousers, khaki colored, for less than a pound of cotton raw,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And the corporation went
They're like, yeah, of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
They're like,
They did
yeah.
that. And they dumped all their manufacturers.
Right.
Yeah.
And they went with that. And that meant dyes being dumped,
Yeah.
people being exploited, all the stuff. But their margins went from sort of modest. Back in the days when I started, the margins were in the 20%. It was normal, 10 to 20% profit margins. They flipped into this. Recently, there was a 61% profit margin. The margins are 60 to 80%. So it's not. It seems to me that it's like the greenwashing thing.
Right.
You hire a bunch of sustainability people. No offense to sustainability people, they try very hard.
Sure.
But they are tasked with something impossible.
Right.
They're tasked with going around demanding things of their manufacturers that their manufacturers cannot pay for unless their margin becomes so minuscule that they can't survive.
Right.
So they're making 6, 8, 10% margins. Their manufacturers,
Yeah.
what can they give up?
Yeah. Or they're just going to tell you that they're going to do the things. I will say that, you know, and I don't work with any of these department stores anymore, so I'm just happy to let cats out of the bag. You know, we would get these letters. You know, we work with department store ABC. I'm not going to name the names at least. And they'd send us these forms, these sustainability, non-slavery thing, like there's just these forms. They're like, do you mind telling us that you don't use any slavery? And I'm like,
That's it, I know, the same thing.
and I'm like, okay, yeah, nope, we don't. I'm like,
We don't.
I can sign this confidently, but all you're doing is sending out a piece of paper and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
you're gonna tell the truth on this piece of paper, right?"
Right.
I'm like, how many companies can you possibly send this to in your entire like chain of all the brands that you carry? It's not just slavery or like it's just like it just talks about like better practices, right? And like how many of the people who are going to sign this paper have any clue? And I'm gonna say there's probably very few. But it doesn't matter because the department store covers their butt and they can go and say, hey, yeah, we checked with all of our suppliers to make sure that there's nothing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, a lot of the times it's about just, look, if we appear this, it's true. It just needs, if we have the appearance of this, and that's all that really matters because, most people, all they want to do is see the seal of approval and, okay, oh yeah, it says the right thing. Okay, so it's probably good. Even though in the back of their head, they're probably a little bit skeptical. And even more so, they're maybe, I'm going to say it, they probably don't even care. It's nice if it's there, but like, they don't
care.
They don't really care that much. But
it's like,
we have a different audience, obviously, but...
Right. But it's also not entirely like their like kind of fault because like I feel like the industry is just like it takes so much from like cotton to having the product. There's so many different hands and sometimes different countries like alongside. It's so hard to keep track. Like even in even when we try, sometimes we can't really know where the cotton is coming from because the mill's like, depending on the batch, like this yarn sometimes uses that and blah blah blah. So it was always like a frustrating thing. It's like even though we want to tell the story of origin, sometimes it's very difficult. That's why like it's so easy to work with you like everybody in between are very like transparent and we can communicate.
We know each other.
Yeah.
In GOTS, for instance, actually does go and interview employees one by one. Like GOTS certification.
Okay.
They actually, the inspector comes, first of all, they always ask me, do you have any slaves?
I'm my own slave. Thank you very much.
But I signed up for this.
Yeah.
But they actually, like at the Giz, they take every employee one by one and make sure they actually interview them and ask them in confidence all this. So that is something about GOTS, right? When you see a
GOTS certification.
That's the GOTS organic certification. They actually interview employees.
Okay.
One by one, not with management around. At least that's what they do. They do that
they do. Not all employees, of course, but they pick somebody at the work.
And take them aside, and then they have a real confidential.
Tell me everything honestly.
Okay.
That's why like organic certification from certain countries you can really trust. Maybe not so much others.
Right. Yeah. So but I would say that it's just hard to know, right?
Yeah.
Because like there's a million stamps out there. Yeah. Which one's the good one? Which one's the bad one? And like, I remember when I was a kid learning that on the different toothpastes, the toothpaste companies would just make up their own certifications. I remember learning that as a kid and being like, wait, you can just do that?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like approved by this dental association. I'm like, yeah, but they own that. They made that stamp. It's just like unbelievable. I'm like, yeah, of course it's gonna be certified gold, double platinum. Okay, I want to we'll get a couple more questions here. Hold on a second. What's going on? Oh, I just want to say, Surrounded by Empty Cloth says, I'm getting married tomorrow, but I just wanted to remind everyone to like and subscribe. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to say that, and congratulations on your marriage. Okay, here's another great question from Scop. He says, can we get a cotton wool blend exclusively from Sally's plants and sheep?
And my sheep!
Yeah.
I wanted to your sheep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we found the place that can wash it. That's the step that they needed. And the big idea now is to, I don't even know if I have any of my sheep in here anymore.
But
the big idea is, first of all, there's black, there's dark brown, light brown, dark silver, light silver, and white. All these colors. And I finally have enough. It's 1,000-pound minimum to wash, and I have plenty now. It used to be 5,000-pound minimum. That's what I've saved. I have 10 years worth of wool.
How many pounds per
sheep? Well, after you sort it and stuff, my sheep maybe after it's washed, it'll be about.
It's a little bit
Oh,
small,
there's
but can see.
a little bit of my sheep. There's.
There they are.
I got a lot more brown.
Yeah, I have black and brown, but as they age, they go often. Some of them get lighter. So that's where the light brown are the older brown sheep, and the silver are the black sheep that are going.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
know that. That's great. Well,
That's why I have all
same.
these different colors.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna get them washed, and then they could come in the same
Shipment container, yeah.
with the cotton because it's very close to where the gin is.
Okay,
The
wonderful.
washing facilities go. So yes,
Yeah.
I really am
Yeah.
excited about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
and bro, you're gonna be able to get some. When we will, I promise
Yeah.
you.
Well, we get requested for wool all the time.
Yeah.
But we held out for
Yeah.
this special sheep.
We would love to make that.
Wow.
Mr. Filthy Cyber says, Bezad, can we get some clarity on what's coming this fall? I'm still not sure. You show us so much cool stuff. Maybe website update.
Yes, that's coming.
Yeah.
Once we we're in the middle of a move, so that's a little stressful. But once that was settled, I'm already working on the website, so that everything, the new products are going to be set up on the website.
And the fall preview video is coming
Right, exactly.
soon. It'll be out, I would say, in July.
Couple weeks.
Which is not that far away. So you'll get a full breakdown. We show a little bit here and there, but you'll get the full breakdown soon enough. Okay. There's a lot of questions. I just want to make sure I can't answer them all. Okay.
One topic I wanted to discuss maybe was Ultimate Pima. And Ultimate Pima, despite the name, we recently learned that it's a Sea Island cotton
It's
variety.
actually Sea
right?
Island.
Sorry for the confusing name.
Yeah, but that's also like organically grown at Dosie's farm, right?
He's the one responsible for saving those seeds and keeping them from not being mixed up with genetically engineered for over 30 years now.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So just to clarify, I guess we learned this more recently.
Yeah.
Is that the Ultimate Pima is
the roots is from Sea Island.
Yeah, it is technically not a Pima variety,
Right.
but it is a Sea Island variety. And it was, I guess, originally a mix-up in the naming. It's okay. It's okay. But Dosie's work has created this current...
Well, it was bred by the breeder. His name was Dr. Carl Roberts.
Okay.
And he took Sea Island from Montserrat, and he grew it in this Mesilla Valley of New Mexico and selected a strain from that original group that grew well in New Mexico and had machine pickable bolls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Dosie has been continuing
Okay. Okay.
all these years.
Yes. So there you have it. Yeah, we were confused about it until
Yeah.
recently, but we have learned that it is a Sea Island variety of extra long staple.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sea Island and Pima are related. They're
Yes.
both of the same species, Gossypium barbadense.
Okay.
And they all they were domesticated in what's now northern Peru. So they have a seed that's smooth. You don't use a saw gin on them. You use a roller gin.
Okay. This is a little over my pay grade, but hey, it's good to know. It's good to know all this stuff. Ultimate Pima Sema. Ultimate Sema. Sea Island Pima.
Oh, I like that.
It's not bad.
Last time I was here, they were looking at your
Sema.
name.
Yeah.
Sema. Ah,
Yeah.
perfect. We were calling it Sea Pearl.
Sea
We
Pearl.
were
Yeah.
calling it we're trying to come up with names, but I like Sema.
Yeah. Sema and Pima. PC. I don't know.
Who's that?
That's Jeremy Sims.
Good.
Jeremy Sims.
Thank you,
yeah,
Jeremy.
That's a good one. Gabriel asked, "What is Sally's necklace?"
Oh yeah, isn't it cute?
Yeah, it's very nice. It looks like some silver.
Yeah, it's from Arizona.
Yeah.
From in the days when everything was so great and I had money. Bought this pretty necklace.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
little
you have
horse.
silver
a silver horse.
It had
Yeah.
a little note inside that got wrecked, but still was sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just something I bought for myself.
Right.
And I wear it all the time.
There you go. From home.
Yeah.
From home. Okay, guys, we are. I want to do. What are we going to do here? I want to do snack time
We
because
have a
we have a
big-
very special snack
Very
time today.
special, big
Yeah.
snack time.
If,
sorry. No,
Oh, Risa, can you throw that one too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Sally not only grows wonderful cotton, but she grows and makes all the wonderful things in the world, and this is going to be part of it. And your wife
Right.
deliciously prepared some snacks for us, which were literally delivered
Yeah.
this morning.
Right.
Yeah, the early Saturday morning post delivery, freshly baked, freshly made. So we're gonna try some delicious treats here.
Right.
Okay,
So this wheat is an heirloom wheat.
heirloom wheat.
That was pretty much gone. But
Okay.
this woman named Monica Spiller had this whole idea that the reason people don't eat whole wheat is because the modern wheats have the bran on the outside is so bitter that nobody wants it because it just tastes bad.
Okay,
And that if we went back to the old varieties that were eaten whole all the time before the roller milling, people might eat whole wheat
okay,
again. So this is an old variety that she got from the seed bank. She got her 10 seeds from the seed bank and a bunch of other ones. And I let her grow all these on my farm.
Okay.
In the year 2000 and 2001.
Okay.
2002. And I tasted this one. She had enough of this one. And I went completely nuts.
Right.
I loved it so much. So then I was like, oh, I'm going to grow this.
Okay.
I'm going to get everybody to grow it. And I did.
yeah. I like the way you think, by the way, because you're just like, I like this. This is my thing. I'm going all the way. I'm diving in. Yeah, I really appreciate that. So
Okay.
Look at
so-
look at the.
Yeah.
Remind us your wife's navy. Look at this.
Machiko-san.
Machiko.
Yeah.
Machiko-san.
Okay, so
okay,
let's see what the mystery is. So there's the cookie.
okay. So
Also,
these cookies.
there's
Also-
the Florentine.
And-
So we could
Look.
try.
And like I'm just saying, she says she's not a professional,
It is,
but these are
very-
packaged like she's a professional.
Also,
Yeah.
it looks like professionals work.
So we've got the cats here.
I think these are Florentines.
Mm-hmm.
That's made with 30% Sally's wheat flour and 70% cake flour, and then she made the two kinds of cookies.
Okay.
The ones with Sally's flour and the ones without.
Oh, okay.
So
Just the
this
cake
is
flour
30%
one. Okay.
Sally's.
Wow.
Is this one?
Okay.
So she said, according to Machiko-san, she says that if you mix this Sally's flour, that it enhances the flavor.
Okay.
So it's
So we're gonna have.
yeah.
Wow, good job.
There we go.
And not only that, she made a pudding
Yeah.
with meeting.
Mirroring.
That's very special. Maybe you
Yeah.
can explain
Yeah.
that.
So mirroring is kind of sake used not for drinking but for cooking. So as an ingredient, and we found really authentic mirroring without any additives from my hometown.
Okay.
And she used it for the pudding and added no sugar and just mirroring, milk, and egg.
Okay.
So
There we go.
I like it very much. So she made it for us.
I'm very excited for all this. This is perhaps the greatest snack time
It's
we're ever
so
gonna
many-
have.
so many
many.
things.
A lot of
to choose
options.
from.
Okay.
Okay, do
I-
we start with
I want to try the cake flour ones. Let's start with
non-Sally?
non-Sally.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, I think it makes everything better, but that I'm very biased.
Right. We're,
We'll find out.
I'm
We're
just gonna.
slightly biased.
We're
as well,
all
but-
biased.
Okay, so
Okay.
Oh, Wow.
There we go.
Look at how
So-
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, the ones with Sally Slower has cats on it.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
ones without
Yeah. So
no cats on it.
this is the before and after here. Okay.
Wow.
So with Sally's, without Sally's. Okay. So Gabriel Fisher says Sally has wheat too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sure does.
When the cotton was sort of a sleeper,
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was like, what is happening? So then I was okay, how can I make the earth better?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do this.
Let's make some wheat.
Let's do
Yeah.
this wheat. Let's
Yeah.
get this wheat. So here's the thing about this wheat. It hardly has any wheat flour. It hardly produces any grain.
Mhm.
It produces copious roots.
Uh-huh.
So it sequesters all this carbon.
Right.
Right.
Fantastic.
So the farm,
Yeah.
my farm has so much carbon in the soil
Yeah.
from this whole system of cotton, and then I rotate it with this wheat. You know,
Okay.
it's like this whole thing.
Amazing. You've got it down. It sounds like you got it down to a science.
All right.
Okay.
Itadakimasu.
Whoops.
Oh,
How do you open it? Oh,
yeah,
just
there you
rip
go.
it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, the wrong. Sorry.
I'm already while
You're in
making
it. Okay.
Mm.
Mmm,
Mm-hmm.
really nice.
Mm.
It'd be great with tea. So
Very
perfect
good.
tea or
Mhm.
or coffee. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like these type of cookies because it's not too sweet.
Yeah.
It's just like you can really taste what's in it. But
In Japan, you'll notice also that a compliment about a pastry is it's not too sweet.
not too sweet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll eat it,
don't
you're
want
like, oh, it's great. It's not too sweet.
You really don't want too sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I
Okay.
don't-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
so
Now
with
with
Sally's
30%
wheat.
Sally sweet.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, I should check.
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna do a little palate cleanser. Mm-hmm.
How does it okay?
I love it. I love it. Quite appropriate.
It is so cute. Did
Okay.
she write this, or is there
No,
like
I
a
know
stamp?
she stamped, I think.
Ah, that's
Amazing. Yeah, yeah. We got the. I love it. Fantastic. Smells sweeter. Can you tell the difference?
I should have left the. Oh, I still
Yeah.
have to.
It tastes different. I think
It
there-
does taste different, but I
I've-
don't know what it is.
I think it has a slightly sweeter taste, but still not too sweet. Yeah.
Not too sweet, and it has all the things that whole wheat is good for. So like, it doesn't. Does this taste like whole wheat to you?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It does.
I don't know what whole wheat tastes like.
Ah, okay.
It's more like
Okay.
I couldn't point out whole wheat.
really
Yeah.
like whole wheat pasta is so different from.
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
normal
yeah.
pasta.
That's right. It doesn't taste like that.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't taste like a
that.
whole wheat pasta. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
Right. So you have the benefit to your whole your whole biology has the benefit of all the things that are good.
Right.
That people tell you
Okay.
why you should eat a whole wheat and you don't want to.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's exactly it. This doesn't taste. Because I'm gonna say it. Whole wheat doesn't taste the best.
Right. That, in my opinion, that's why
Yeah.
I never ate it. Because
Right.
That's too bitter.
Right. It's fine, but it's not. You got a choice. It's nobody's first choice. This you would never know, and it tastes good. Right.
Is this like I feel like there's like a little bit of like a grain, like a
Grainy.
little.
Yeah.
Right.
Little
When it's
mealiness.
stone ground.
Okay.
Okay, so the stone mill I have is going to make the flakes of the bran a little bit larger that are actually good for your biology. But it does give you this different, it does change. It also has more buttery, there's a butter taste to it and a corn taste to it.
That's it.
Corn.
That's like what I think is what I'm tasting is as sweet is maybe the corn. That's exactly. If I had to use it, that's exactly it.
And they
Yeah.
used to make, the first flour tortillas were using this variety.
Oh,
I see.
Interesting, because
Right.
it's similar to corn
It
tortilla.
has the corn flavor. And my first customer of this was a vegan bakery in Connecticut, and that was because they didn't have butter, and they said it tasted like butter.
Mm.
Amazing. All right.
Interesting.
Well, there you go. This is a fascinating, a fascinating tour. Okay, we have some more cookies. There's 2 in here. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the Florentine
Oh.
Yeah.
with 30% solid wheat flour and 70% cake flour.
So
But this is like so hard to make. I think it's not. I mean, cookie is hard to make well, but I think this is so much more
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so good.
Yeah.
Well, you were a professional baker, right?
yeah, I was.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I was, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But she does well.
Wow. Wow.
So let's check that out.
It's beautiful.
It's incredible.
It's
Very.
Sliced almond and pistachio.
Wow.
Oh,
It's
Yeah, it's very nice.
Maybe we wanna be full.
all this?
Mm. Mm.
mm,
This is very nice.
very, very good.
Mhm.
You know,
Is there honey here?
Salt, sugar? I don't know.
Oh, like a.
Melted sugar?
Like a. Okay.
I don't know.
I love Florentine. I sometimes, eat that from like very famous bakeries. But I actually never like tasted this much pistachio. I don't know if it's normal to put pistachio
I don't
in
know.
it, but it's great. I like
Wow.
that.
No.
So delicious.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Mm. And yeah, as Sally described her flour, I think I can taste it in here. Because you can feel maybe mealy isn't the right word, but you can feel that there's more texture in there. Yeah, and I think it lends itself nicely to like a cookie like this.
Wow.
All right.
She can have a whole business just
Yeah.
like getting Sally's flour.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then
I
Not
know.
only
I'm-
Yeah, let's send the flour. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm telling you.
I love to import it. Yes.
You guys like FoxFibre t-shirts? You can get the
This
whole
is wonderful.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've got some pudding.
Yeah.
All right.
Gosh. Oh,
Well,
look at this.
like kindly, she made this yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And she sent it overnight so that we will get it in time for this
Snack time.
snack time and then like a cool,
Yeah, in a cooled box.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
so, this is something
like a
very
cool
special.
delivery.
Hayes T says y'all should do a video in New Mexico of the FoxFibre growing process, then another at the mill someday.
Yes, we would love to visit the farm at some point.
Yeah.
And maybe you can advise us on when to visit because
Yeah,
we
sure.
would like to go when there's like the bolls
Yeah.
of cotton grown.
Harvesting time. Yeah, we definitely, it's on our radar, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the mill is closer.
The mill is definitely closer. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is so made with the special meeting.
Yeah.
But so with pudding, usually they make it with eggs and milk.
Milk and sugar.
Sugar. Yeah.
And vanilla essence also added.
So instead of sugar, they use she
Mirin.
used mirin.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Only mirin.
Oh.
Yeah. Very nice pudding.
Mm.
It's not like, this is not like,
Oh, interesting.
it's not like snack pack, pudding.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
nice. There's no.
It's like a
weird-
fluffy, eggy taste. It's very nice.
It is.
Yeah.
Have you had this before?
Mhm.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely pudding.
Yeah, but
it's,
in America, that's not what we call. This is not.
Right.
It's very different than like North American pudding. North American pudding is like, it's. I don't know. There's nothing else I
Yeah.
can explain. It's pudding, right?
But this
Yeah.
tastes more like
Right.
flan.
Yeah.
Mm,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. It has more of a flan taste,
Right.
flan texture. Yeah.
But I really like it. It's like mirin. To me, mirin is something you use in like salty cooking to add a little bit of sweetness to it. I've never had it as like a sweetener for like sweet things.
Huh.
Amazing.
It's interesting.
Not too sweet.
Not too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Not too sweet.
Not too
Yeah.
sweet people.
But it's very
Yeah.
flavorful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very flavorful. And I've really come to appreciate the not too sweet. I was like, it took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you go back to this side, it's
Yeah.
hard to eat like a lot of
I
American
know, it's
Yeah.
way too
Mm.
sweet.
Yeah.
You can't taste anything.
Yeah.
The sugar just overwhelms.
Yeah, I remember when Risa and I we used to be worlds apart, and I would send Risa, care packages from Canada, just my favorite candies I thought she might like, and I can only imagine now, like, because I would just send her bags of like cherry blasters and Sour Patch Kids and just like the all too sweet,
I like it too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very American.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have that here,
Yeah.
so it's good. But
But like
yeah,
I
in-
would
in
down a
small
bag
amounts.
of cherry blasters, no problem. But now, like if I eat 2 or 3, I'm like, okay, like that's enough. I love them,
much
but I
sugar.
can't eat too much anymore. All right, Chris Karras says maybe more like a custard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel it's more like in the flan. Yeah, not as hard as flan.
Okay.
Anyhow, still very very nice.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you where you can get some, but
You just need to be friends with.
Not for sale.
yeah, not for sale. Special for this live stream. Now we gotta rank it, and
No
Oh.
flattery, please.
huh?
No flattery, please. So
No.
No,
sorry.
but look, it's gonna come with a lot of flattery and a lot of bias, and so
Okay, like are we rating everything
I'm
individual?
rating the experience.
The experience.
Yeah.
This is like, I mean, I have to say it was just way, because we did know that she was making pudding for us, and I was very excited, but I didn't know all these
Yeah.
extra things, and with Sally's flour, like
Yeah,
that.
I did
that's
not
just
expect the
like a
salad flour,
total
so
surprise. So I can't say anything other than 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10. Okay, there you go. I was gonna go 9.8 out of 10 because I don't believe in tens. There's no perfection, right? 9.9 leaves, if I go 9.8, because to me 9.9 is technically perfect, even though there's no such thing as perfect. But maybe could there be something a little higher? Maybe. I'm leaving room that perfection could happen one day. So 9.8 is as high as I could ever go, and so it gets a 9.8. There you go.
ありがとうございます。
No. ありがとうございます。Thank you so much for Machiko-san as
Yeah.
well.
So yeah, I didn't know you had wheat available, and now.
Now we know.
Now we know. You get the whole thing. BD says, Sally, can your items be sent to Canada?
I'm working on it.
She's working on it.
I'm
All right.
sorry, everybody. It's just me, and
Yeah.
I just get overwhelmed.
No. It's very
It's-
complicated.
yeah.
Right, but I
Unnecessary.
feel like I'm gonna start a regular thing with FedEx. What happens with the post office is I get the USPS. I've lost. There have been too many packages lost.
Yeah.
I lost too much money, and I can't take the risk. But I think FedEx is better.
Yeah.
And I could do a FedEx once a week or something.
Sure. Yeah.
I drive into town once a week for groceries, and then that's when I bring all the stuff in.
There you go.
It's an hour drive,
Yeah.
and I could do it all.
Even with us, I mean, people always ask us, can you ship here? Or can you ship with this carrier and that carrier? Oh, this carrier is better than that carrier. I'm like, they all have their problems.
Yeah.
They
No
all
carrier's perfect.
no carrier is perfect,
Yeah.
and it's like you'll ask anybody in our industry, and they will tell you why they like the carrier that they have, the problems that they have it, and why they don't use the ones that they don't use, and it's just so it always is a challenge. And I wish things were a little bit easier, especially Canada, USA. You're right there. What's the problem here? Come on. But hey, you know what? We don't run the borders yet. When we do, I know you can lobby the government, so we'll figure it out.
Already have a government connection.
Yeah. So just call your friend Al Gore there. We're gonna figure this out, and we'll get that. That's what we'll do. We'll get the border sorted out the way we know how. Henry says, "Wow, this is the best snack time to date. to go with a great episode. Well, I'm gonna agree with you there.
Yeah.
And a pimp named Slickback says, was really cool hearing someone that cares so much about what they do and all the hard work to produce her cotton. That's it, and that's what we try to bring you here. The Raven says, bribe them with FoxFibre teas. I hear the government likes bribes. I hear
Some
I've heard
delicious
it.
cookies.
Yeah, and delicious cookies maybe. Terrence says, shipping can turn into a full-time job before you know it.
Oh.
And Terrence knows all about it over at Tate and Yogo. He's your warehouse captain there at Tate and Yogo. He knows all about it. Brenton Henry says, oh, someone from the U.S. sent you a $20 gift? We'll need $60. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Canada.
Sounds like the government to me. Okay, I just want to end on a very... I know we're ragging on governments, which is like my favorite thing to do. I'm just going to say, we at the World Expo, we went to go visit my country's booth.
Oh, I heard it was gorgeous.
Canada's booth was not as nice as your country's booth.
Really? I didn't get to go see anything.
We had a hard time
the-
seeing inside because I'm just saying, if you go to the World Expo, if you're planning to come to Osaka, it's hard.
Make a reservation, like read all the instructions, even though it's so freaking
It's very complex.
confusing.
Yeah.
But do that and then book the appointment.
It's like America, France, like Portugal. They had all these amazing booths. Canada's booth was... It's okay. Okay, so I get there, and Canada, we only have one national dish.
Okay.
And that national dish is poutine. Do you know what poutine is?
No.
Poutine comes from Quebec. It's a French-Canadian food. How and where and how it got its name, nobody really knows. But it's simple. It's French fries. It's cheese curds and gravy on top. Wow. So Canadians put gravy on their fries. That was a staple of my, junior high school meals. A lot of that. But we throw some cheese curds on there. It's delicious. And then you can get extra fancy. You can put all kinds of stuff on it. But, the standard is fries, cheese curds, gravy. That's the base. Not very complex. Very simple food. Everywhere in Canada serves it. From poutine restaurants that specialize in it to McDonald's, KFC, Burger King. Every fast food chain has their own. They all have it, and it's all pretty standard, right? So you would think you get to the Canada booth. This is Canada. You're representing Canada to the world right now. We get into that line, and I look, and it's like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, what do we have here? The menu, it explains what poutine is, because, people are in Japan. They don't know what poutine is. It explained it properly. Fries, cheese curds, gravy. I get in the line. I see this booth is operated by Air Canada, and I'm like, why is poutine booth operated by Air Canada? It seems a little odd. You'd think they'd maybe get some Montreal, nice restaurant, like a famous restaurant, La Banquise or something, to come in there and represent Canada for the world. And you go in, you pay $15 for this poutine. And I'm like, okay, so it's Canada pricing now. Fine. They pay first, and then you get in the line where you get the food, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I see fries, and I see gravy, but they're using completely the wrong cheese. And this would be an insult at home. It's just they're just using shredded cheese. Shredded cheese is not cheese curds. Not even close. It doesn't have the same texture, it doesn't have the same taste, nothing. This is not poutine. At the Canada booth, so I buy it. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. And
disgusting. But it was.
And I was very disappointed.
It was not a great representation.
No, I was very upset.
Of
Canadian
culture.
Yeah, and so that was me. Look at it. Shredded cheese is a crime. Terrence says. Terrence says poutine crimes. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. In Wizard of 32 Ounce, that's Garrett at Tate and Yoko. He correctly says it. In the States, some places, they'll use shredded cheese and with gravy, and they'll call it disco fries. I've seen that. Disco fries. But disco fries is not poutine, and it is not as good as poutine, and
it did not represent your country.
Not at all. And so I was very upset, and I couldn't believe that. It's like Japan having a booth, and oh, here's some kimonos, and then it would just not be a kimono, and you'd be like, why didn't you use a kimono? Like what? Like, you know, it just makes no. Or like France booth, they're like, here's a croissant, and it's just like those crappy croissants you get at the grocery store, and it's like. France would, like, I could never imagine a France booth doing that. Like, it would be a national shame, right?
Yes, right.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, of course, Air Canada. I like Air Canada. Great airline. Their lounges are nice. In fact, in the lounges in Canada, they serve poutine properly.
Yes, but here's what I think happened is that they realized that in Japan you can't get cheese curds.
Well, they should have imported them. They should have did something. They should have figured it out.
But
Okay?
they didn't
Yeah.
think about it. They
Yeah.
were like, oh, okay, we have cheese.
Yeah, they're like, what are these Japanese people gonna know? They don't know. Cheese is cheese. Anyways, what can I say? There you go. Leave it to the government of Canada to screw up poutine. Okay.
That's not a good note to end on. Let's end
It
on
was-
some positive notes.
It was a fun story. There you go. It's a fun story.
It's a fun
Okay.
story, yeah.
So everybody, we're gonna leave it there.
Okay. Are we gone over?
No, it's not a matter of over. It's just like should I? Okay, I'm gonna go one more topic.
Okay.
Just because I thought of it in the middle of the stream, like this could be a fun topic because we were talking. Hey guys, if you tuned out already, you're missing out on a good topic. I'm telling you. We talked about heirloom, like cotton varieties. You know, wheat varieties. I like saying it wheat. And in one thing, when we talk a lot of like apparel nowadays, we look to vintage as like this inspiration. And I always thought in the denim world, it's always like, oh, Japan, they make the jeans the way that they did in the old days. And these companies are very dedicated to creating vintage jeans like authentically and this and that. And I always felt like, I'm like, yes, but no. Right? Yes, but no. And the yes part is that, yeah, they're making Selvedge denim and, maybe they're using similar indigo types as what they would have used back then. But if these companies were like as repro as they, the perfectly authentic reproduction of these old jeans, well, then I would say that the fabric would have to be made in America, right? But even more so, it got to thinking like cotton variety.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So cotton variety, like you can't make an authentic reproduction of a jean from like 1930 unless you have the cotton.
Variety from
Right.
1930.
Right. And I think that is something really cool and something that certainly at Naked and Famous we thought of. I don't know. There is a jean in that realm that is coming out in Naked and Famous Denim Land. I don't know where they are with that. But before we left, that was one project we were working on. But I think that's a very, very cool thing to go down. Like if you really want to make, because a lot of people, and we talked about it even earlier with the mugs, it's like here's these things from back. The reason why we like a lot of stuff from way back when is because they were sort of made with this. This is going to be tough. This is going to be like this is made to last. Because things weren't so throwawayable back then. You bought a T-shirt, you bought a shirt, you bought it because it was going to. You're going to use that for a while. And like that was certainly part of the marketing where it's like, this is durable, this is strong, this is going to last. And, as we've sort of changed a lot from that, we have the products that we have today. I'm not to say that all new products are not as good as old products or all old products are as good as, you know what I'm saying. But as we are often inspired by a lot of vintage items, it would be more interesting to go even deeper because I know you guys have like antique spinning machines.
Yeah.
So you can spin the yarn the way old-fashioned way. And then we have the knitting machines that can make the fabric in the old-fashioned way.
Right.
But to go all the way down to the roots, to the cotton, and get the old varieties of cotton, that would be really something. Anyhow, maybe we'll have to explore some of that.
Yes. It's definitely, when I was looking at the vintage things, that's what I was thinking. What variety were they growing then? And I keep thinking that for the jeans, too.
Right.
Is that the varieties used for jeans used to be this very short, less than an inch cotton. And certainly it could be revived from the seed banks, right? You just go get your 10 seeds and you start increasing them. and
Right.
all that. It's just.
It's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, matter of time.
And you have to grow a lot for it to be
Right.
The exported is fun and
Right.
Right.
so many
Okay.
things. But
Well, anyhow, that was one thing that sparked me. Anyhow, it's a fun discussion. A lot of fun discussions today.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah.
Some final words.
Some final thoughts.
Aw, thank you. Thank you for supporting my work.
Of course, it's
for spinning it. Thank
yeah.
you.
It's all our pleasure.
Hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Okay, there you go. You heard it best.
Businessman.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody, we will see you guys again next week. Thank you guys for joining
Thank you
us,
very much.
answering our questions,
you.
and sharing your knowledge with the community here. We'll be back again next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the Wonder Looper live stream. And have yourselves a nice weekend. Do something nice for yourself, and most importantly, do something